Well, very good afternoon, everybody, and I hope your Thursday is going well. Thanks so much for joining us today for what I know will be a really fantastic webinar. My name is Sandy Elson, and on behalf of the travel professional community and homebasettravelagent.com, I want to welcome all of you and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be with us today. I am very pleased to welcome as our host today, Avoya Travel. Our speaker is Scott Kepf, Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya. And I know that if you've been in the travel business more than about a minute and a half, you know who Scott is and have probably heard him speak. With more than 30 years in retail travel, Scott Kepf is the Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya Travel, one of the largest and most awarded host agencies in North America and beyond. Scott's topic today is Make 2017 Your Best Year Ever. And I know we're all really anxious to get Scott's advice on how to do that. Before we get started, please remember that you are all muted, but we welcome your questions. You can type in your questions at any time in the question area you see on the right-hand panel of your screen. When Scott finishes his presentation, we will take some questions. Also, at the end of the webinar, Scott will be giving away 3 $50 Amazon gift cards. So stick around and maybe you will be one of the lucky winners. I'll tell you more about the gift card giveaway a little later, but here's a hint. You may want to take some notes. So now I'm going to turn the microphone over to Scott so he can get started. Welcome, Scott. It's great to see you here.
Well, thank you. It is great to be here, and you always do a fabulous job running these webinars, and it's a real pleasure to share about Avoya Travel and talk about how to make 2017 your best year.
Thanks so much.
So let me go ahead and, all right, thanks, Andy. All right, let's go ahead and dig right in. And, what I wanted to start with is, how do you make 2017 your best year ever? Well, I think there's really kind of two elements that I'll ask you to consider as I go through really the Avoya Travel Network opportunity, and that's what today is all about, is talking about the program that we have and what makes us a little different. But really in terms of just in general for anyone is that what makes one year a great year versus another year. And most of the time when we are privileged to have 2020 hindsight and look back at a certain year and say that was a great year, it really came down to two things. And one is that you were open to making a change, and then you took the risk to make that change. And in most cases, that's what has to happen to make a great year. Otherwise, it's going to be relatively the same year as the year before because nothing else really happened or changed that dramatically. So I hope you have an open mind to change and to really consider what we're going to be talking about today and to help grow your business, because business isn't just going to grow because you change, you continue to do the same things. It really means that you're going to make a significant change and make a significant commitment to growing your business. So if that is something you are looking for, then I hope you're going to find you're in the right place. And what is the right place? Well, I love this quote from gangster Willie Sutton, who asked why he robbed banks, said, because that's where the money is. And I think that is such a true statement. In other words, why travel? Now, most of you are already in the travel industry, have been in the travel industry. No doubt we are in a great business. We're in a great place. As Sandy said, I've been in this industry over 30 years. I love this business, and most of my career has been emphasizing how to help travel agents become more successful. I've been in various roles, from associations to consortiums, having run my own agency, 2 different agencies. And again, my ultimate passion has landed on the fact that I just love to help travel agents become more successful and to really take advantage of this great business. And of course, you can see the opportunities there that are listed as to why travel. And of course, for most of you, it's not only about travel, but it's also the fact that you can run your own business, own your own business, and be able to achieve your dreams. Well, one of the biggest choices you have to make when it comes to being in the travel industry as an independent agency owner or even as an agent today is that at one point when you decide to go off on your own and build your own business is, do I go with a host agency? And before I even talk specifically about Avoya, I'll just mention that my opinion is that for 99.9% of all of the folks in this industry, they should work through a host travel agency. And again, if we hope that it's Avoya Travel, and we hope all the benefits that we have will lean you in that direction. But if not, I'm still going to suggest that you look at and research some of the other large, well-known hosts, and I would choose a host who's in the business of hosting, that is their primary business, and then in doing so, to make sure that it's a good fit for you. But strictly from the financial side alone, it is a huge advantage due to the buying power that any host is going to give you. Now, the majority now of all travel agents in the United States are home-based, which is great. But it means that you, to be successful in your business, must have certain advantages. You've got to have certain advantages in the way that you go to market, in the way that you can offer pricing and deals and specials, and all of those kinds of things become incredibly important. And where do you get all those? Well, that's going to come through your relationship with a host agency. Now, a travel franchise is certainly an option, and there certainly are some good ones out there, but you will be operating under their brand entirely. And there certainly is a lot more restrictions in terms of the contract that you sign and the relationship that you have with the franchise. So, and typically it's also a lot more expensive to get into the franchise. So I'll say that while certainly there are legitimate and good franchises out there, I think you'll find that in most cases you can get the same education, backing, and the same kind of buying power through a host agency relationship that may end up being a better choice for you. Well, how do you choose? Well, I recommend doing your homework, doing your research, asking a lot of questions, but of course, I'm going to spend a little bit of time of telling you what exactly makes Avoya Travel the right choice, and hopefully you'll find that it is. Now, Avoya Travel itself is a worldwide brand. We actually have a brand, and known as, and in some ways, we're even considered an online travel agency because we do most of our marketing digitally. We have built up a very strong brand. We're one of the largest travel agencies in the world specializing in leisure travel. And most of that business is generated from our website at avoya.com or avoyatravel.com. And the beauty of that is that while we are worldwide and have this extraordinary brand and the benefits that brings you, we're also a family-owned and operated company, and that is how we deal with our independent agencies as part of the family. And one of the only things that really we require of being an affiliate of Avoya Travel is that you have integrity and professionalism. And hopefully everybody on this call already has that requirement locked in. And if you do, we really stand by that, and that's the reputation we have in this industry. And that has led us to winning a number of different awards. And it's because of our shared success model. And what that means is that we do not have one person in the company who sells travel. In other words, we have over 125 employees that are all here to help support your businesses and to help your independent agencies become successful. Not one of those people sells travel. So 100% of our sales happens through our independent contractors. And that makes a really big difference in terms of where your management team puts their emphasis, et cetera. In other words, we can't be successful unless you are. And we do have some extraordinary success stories, many, many, many of them, which I'll be sharing some as we go through this today. But we're also affiliated with the American Express network, and that, of course, gives you some additional credibility and benefits and programs that are available not just to card members of American Express, but also available to any consumer, just again because of the buying power and the reputation of American Express, and you certainly can take full advantage of that. As I mentioned, we've won a number of different awards, from the Top Travel Agency Award to the Magellan Awards, Travel Alliance, Travi. We were voted Best Host Agency for 3 years in a row. And when you think about the fact that by the number of agents that we have, we are not the largest, and nor do we have any aspirations to be so. We simply want the best. We want the most productive and best agencies as part of our network. And this is being voted on by other travel agents and suppliers. And we have won that award, even though the other organizations have so many more bodies. And again, I think it just goes to show that we have a very unique offering in the marketplace. Well, what is that offering, and what is the Avoya Advantage? How does that work for you? Probably the most famous thing, I'll spend a little bit more time on this, is what we call the Avoya Live Leads program. And that is basically exactly what it says. Every other host, and I'll say even consortia relationships, will provide marketing opportunities, marketing resources, and chances for you to sign up for marketing programs, from email to direct mail to whatever it might be, and you pay for a certain amount of that marketing. And of course, it's also up to you to create the list. Well, therein is the rub, is that if your list was powerful enough to keep your phone ringing all day, then you probably wouldn't need their help in the first place. The reality is it is very hard to compete in today's marketplace. Remember, years and years ago, people were up there saying, well, as long as you had a website and you'll make all kinds of money in this industry. Well, that didn't really pan out, as certainly thousands and thousands of travel agencies decide to have websites. And now, yes, you should have one. And of course, we offer one for free as part of our program. And you get your own website that's fully functional, has a full search and everything else that the Avoya site has. But beyond that, simply having a website today is like having a business card. It doesn't mean it's going to generate business for you. So we spend millions of dollars in marketing to drive customers to the Avoya site, at which point we distribute those out to our network to make the sale. And again, we are the only entity that really does this. We do this and we're famous for it. And I'll give you a little bit more information on that in a little bit. In addition to that, we have the marketing programs that are available to drive that business, but we also have the AMP program, or in other words, the Agency Marketing Platform. And this is a program designed to help you build your own client base. So Avoya builds Avoya customers that then offer to you to sell and work with and build a personal relationship with. But certainly there are opportunities on a local basis for you to build up your own agency's database. And that's what this is for. It provides direct mail programs, email programs, and programs on social media for your own agency to build up its own client base. So it's the best of both worlds. But again, as we've seen, is that most travel agencies say that their number one issue or challenge today is marketing, or another way to say that is, how do I get the phone to ring? How do I let people know I exist? And especially, as you can imagine, in a home-based business, you don't really have a big sign, you don't have walk-in traffic. So how do you get these folks to pay attention to you? And it's very difficult when you have big competitors out there. When we know that about 75% of all customers start all of their search for travel online, you've got a lot of competition. So you're best to align yourself with someone who's already a major player in that space, and then to be able to take advantage of our patented technology, which comes through our system called Agent Power, which is your desktop system, which basically has everything from a CRM to your accounting tracking to booking engines to really almost everything that you need to be successful on a day-to-day basis. Of course, the American Express travel benefits that I mentioned, and the educational program that we have through Avoya University, and our success model, and more. As I said, I'll expand on this a little bit, is that actually with our Live Leads program, it means that in essence, through our Agent Power system, you sign up, and actually it can show up on your phone, it can be on a website, it can be through a mobile app, it can be on your desktop, wherever you might be, anywhere you've got an internet, we are connected to you, and we are offering those new clients that come to us 24/7. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can take leads, and we send those out based on specialization. So you choose which brands that you feel the most comfortable and that you know inside out and backwards, and then you will receive leads for those brands. And so again, there's a huge opportunity here, and the opportunity, of course, is to take the leads on a regular basis to be able to build up your business and to build up your sales, of course, and the value of your business. Well, that has led us to having the highest sales per network member in the entire industry, and we will show you a slide here in just a minute on the difference that has become because of this. So in other words, instead of spending a tremendous amount of your time and your money trying to determine how to get the phone to ring or how to get a lead, we have those leads already in place for you. So that time and energy and money can be spent, instead of trying to get another lead, to simply sell and close the leads that we already have. And that is a huge, huge difference. And of course, it is exclusive only for Avoya. I mentioned the AMP program, which again gives you all of the best programs available in a very simple to use format to build your own customers and to generate more business from the customers that you already have. So today you might have your own customer list, or you might be starting off and really don't even have much of a list, but in either case, we'll help you either build a list and or take advantage of the list that you currently have to increase those sales. And as you can see, some of the success rates there have been in excess of 54%, and that's on average, by the way, folks. of the increase that has been shown of the agencies that take advantage of this program. So we're the only one who has both sides of marketing covered. And the way, of course, that we send out all of these leads is through our Agent Power system, which is patented technology, again, exclusively available only through Avoya Travel. And in that same system, you've got search and booking engines that does all your accounting tracking, has all of your educational programs, professional development. It is a CRM system with integrated email. And of course, we have an active community forum also, which allows us to have all of our independent agencies communicate with each other, get advice, get suggestions, and simply just get to know each other. I have also mentioned the American Express, and one of the biggest benefits with the American Express program, which we've been with for over 30 years, is the Pay with Points program. And that is, as you know, there are billions, and I mean billions of points that are out there that these American Express cardholders have. And they might not even know that they can use those points to basically purchase anything with you as an American Express representative office. So you can sell just about every cruise line and tour operator, and basically they can use their points to do so. So it kind of works as a cash equivalent. And of course, there are card member benefits, and then that instant branding, again, gives you such great credibility. Of course, the education, as I mentioned, we've got a huge plethora of programs available to you from our Avoya University, which is an online program that also has one-on-one counseling, one-on-one programs that you can get personal attention and personal walkthrough, as well as the online program. Our mastermind program is unique in the industry, and this is a peer-to-peer program, but led by professionals that really know our business. They know sales, they know how to become successful in the Avoya system, and it's a sharing of ideas and best practices that has had a huge impact on agencies that have joined the Avoya program. We have an annual conference, which is renowned in the industry as one of the not only best from an education standpoint, but also for fun and excitement. We have our regional roundtables that we do at various trade shows. Again, business coaching through the mastermind program, and our academies at sea, where we do in-depth sales training, typically at either resorts or on cruise ships. I mentioned earlier how our sales success, and really one of probably the biggest questions I would ask if I was looking at which host agency do I go to, is not how many members they have, not even how much sales they do, but what are the sales generated per agency? Because that really shows you the success rate of the agencies that are affiliated with that particular network. And we researched this through the Travel Weekly Top 50 list. We've done this by looking at all public documents, that from what we can tell of every major franchise and host agency out there, that we are at least 2 times better than the next closest competitor, and in most cases significantly better than that. And that really is a huge difference. We have a best of the best program and even a 500 club program of agencies that sell over $500,000 or over $1 million. That is growing every year. And we have a very large network of those who are successful. We're not looking for fees. We're not looking for people to come in and just kind of hang their hat and sell one thing a year. We're looking for folks who really want to grow their business and make their business successful. And that's why we see so many people go through extraordinary growth. Actually, I just got a list every month we call off to people who in their very first 3 months have do over $250,000 in business. And myself and the other senior vice president here needed to split the list to call because there was too many of them. So again, huge opportunity here to make those kinds of sales in very short order. So again, while there are certainly some benefits that other hosts or even franchises can certainly claim, there's a number of things that Avoya stands out. The highest sales per network member, we've got the highest commissions. Our new clients via the Live Leads program is exclusive. And again, our support ratio is also the best in the industry. So again, a huge opportunity. And really what we're doing through this entire process is reimagining vacation planning. So in other words, if you go to avoyatravel.com, you're going to see that the way that we market is not by trying to force people to make a booking online. Many of the online agencies tried that for many years, and when they realized that people are certainly willing to do that for air and hotel, when it came to cruises, there's a very small percentage of people who are willing to take a transaction, $5,000, $10,000, all the way through without talking to a human. Well, we don't even offer the opportunity to book online. Our whole program is designed to connect the consumer with an expert at a particular brand or destination. And so when they come in, they will be offered to you. When it's offered to you and you accept that lead, it's not going to be sent to anyone else. No one else is competing with you within the Avoya system for that same booking. So it's yours, and certainly up to you in terms of how to follow up and the sales process that you use. We certainly provide a lot of education on the best practices there and our suggestions on how to do so, but it's really up to you. But it is based on productivity, and it is based on how you eventually sell those customers as to how many more leads you'll be receiving for that particular brand. So we are a sales-oriented company, but it allows you to really specialize and to focus in on the brands or the destinations that you love. And again, our whole focus is putting together all of the best technology that people want to receive online, but still giving them that good old-fashioned personalized service that when they are connected to you, they stay connected to you. They come back 2 years later, we still offer that lead off to you because you booked with them the first time. So as long as you're with Avoya, your customers will stay with you. So we highlight that personalized size. Again, we're always trying new things. We have a very innovative heritage and certainly are continuing to do new things. And again, our whole goal is to help you close more and to build your business. If you go to our site, again, you're going to see some of these videos. I can't play this, unfortunately, it doesn't work really well on the GoToWebinar format, but we have various videos that not only talk certainly about travel, which is what most of the sites that are out there talk about, but we talk about the value of using a travel agent, the value of using, in particular, an Avoya travel agent, and why that's such an important part of the transaction. I mentioned earlier, we've got some great success stories here, just a few, and Rachel, you can see up there, done over 700,000 in her first 6 months, just started, and actually was really new to the whole system and relatively new to travel, and yet again has exploded in her business in a short period of time. Pepe and Patricia have been with us for a number of years, but continue to build their business. You can see their numbers there, and that's year over year, they're doing those kinds of numbers, so it's not an anomaly. They are very successful, and again, there is a tremendous number of folks that we have in our Best of the Best program and our 500 Club that are finding success here that they've never found before. And in our Best of the Best program, which I mentioned is all the folks who are doing well over $1 million, we actually have 2 more categories above that. We have a President's Circle for $2 million a year and a Chairman's Club at $3 million a year. Each of those have a growing number of folks that are being added to that number, and it is exciting to see these folks grow their business. Each year we do a Best of the Best trip when and a preferred supplier will host them on one of their products. This last year we went to Ireland, don't you know? And this was this wonderful trip we had there in Ireland. And you can see some of the pictures here that we have a lot of fun. And be careful, I'll jump into that accent for the rest of this thing because it was really fun. And we have certainly a wonderful time there. Well, let's get down to the money side of this. So certainly you can look at this and say, okay, I get that you've got a lot of different programs. You certainly provide all the education and networking and all the other things that every other host talks about. But you do have this one thing, this live leads thing. And so how does that work? How do I make more money? Well, one of the things to keep in mind is what I've found is when so many agencies were out looking for hosts, they focused on one thing and one thing only. What's the split? What's the split? And so, of course, you'd have a lot of agencies who said, oh, well, we'll even give you up to 100% back. Or maybe they charge you for an invoice or something. But remember, 100% of no growth is still 100% of nothing. So the key is, do you really want to grow your business? And, you know, or you can talk about, gee, a difference between 5% or 10% between host A and host B. But the real difference is, how are you going to grow your business? How are you going to grow the amount of sales that you have? And so without, again, hiding the fact, I'll just tell you what our splits are, because, again, it's important to know, is that our split amount is real simple. If it's your customer, and you've gone out and you've found that customer, or it's somebody you know, and you went and spoke to the Rotary Club, whatever it is locally, you develop that customer, you'll retain 80% of the commission. And that is, again, some of the highest commissions in the entire industry based on our size and strength. So you're getting 80% of that. In the case where we go out and we spend the millions of dollars developing the marketing and driving in those leads, you will retain 30% of that very high commission. Now, a lot of people hear that and say, oh my gosh, 30%, how do we survive? Well, think of it this way. It's basically about a 3-to-1 ratio, right? So think about the amount of time and effort it takes you to go out and find even a few leads, and then of those, how many of those close? And the amount of time that you take to do that, you basically can be in your office and accepting leads to sell 3 of those customers in a much shorter period of time. We've had a lot of our folks who have come, they've joined us, and when they join us, they say, well, I'm going to spend most of my time building my own customers because look at the commission split, I'll do this. And I can tell you that the vast majority of those who have watched their business grow have decided, you know what, that didn't make any sense at all. I can't afford to do that because I have the opportunity of taking these leads on a regular basis, consistent basis, and be able to build my business that way. Now, we also do that, and you can have a high closing rate because of the fact that we are one of the largest agencies in the world, and because of that, we are able to get specials and prices. And I'm not telling you anything you don't know if I say that our consumer today is very price focused, and I don't care what level of product he's at, highest level, lowest level, they still want to know they got a great value and a great deal. And we have exclusive offers, exclusive programs, because our business is no different than any other business. That the more you sell, the more you can negotiate and the more you can drive. And so with our great partners, we're able to give you advantages in the marketplace so that you can close more sales. So again, a fabulous opportunity. And even if we don't have an offer that is the best in the marketplace, we will do an offer match share program with you where basically you can still make an offer to a customer and we'll share in that offer. So if you need to give $100 back to make a sale, to match someone else, to be able to do that, we'll share in that with you so you don't have to take the whole hit. So again, we understand the realities of the marketplace. We are not rebaters. We don't lead with any kind of rebating, but we do have extraordinary offers available that you can use. We also have an instant commission program, which allows you to help your cash flow to actually get your commission shortly after deposit instead of waiting all the way until final payment. There's a small fee for it, but again, you can do this by your choice to determine if you need help with your cash flow. If you're brand new to travel, then again, what we suggest is to start to own your own travel business, to go through a travel agent training program. And so we use a third-party company called CareerQuest to do so. And they are a program that has an online program. We've had some people go through it in as short as 3 or 4 weeks. Other people take 2 to 3 months. But it basically teaches the basics of being a travel agent. And at that point, then we have 100% of the people who graduate CareerQuest who are referred by Avoya come back to Avoya, and they have had a great success rate after they go through the educational program at Avoya to learn our system and our programs. We also have a professional business structure requirement for anyone who decides to join Avoya Travel. And that is that we require that you have your own errors and omissions insurance and that your company is set up as either a limited liability corporation or could be a subchapter S or even a C corporation. Now, the reason for that is, of course, that protects your personal assets, but it also signifies a seriousness of the business. And a lot of people will say, well, my host agency has errors and omissions insurance. Well, I can promise you we do too. And yes, they do. But one of the things is you have to be very careful of if an agency says that they have it, in most cases, you are not a named person within that insurance. And so there are a lot of different, as you know, with all insurance, kind of small print in reference to that. Plus, in most cases, host agencies will, if they have an insurance that is an umbrella insurance against all of their independent contractors, typically has a deductible of about $10,000. Well, so imagine you have an $8,000 issue, you're not even close to covered at that point. So it's really important to understand that it's your business, it's your company, and you need to make sure you have your own insurance. And so again, I'd be very careful, and even if you did have a host agent who said they have it, I'd say, send me the policy, I want to see my name on it. And I can promise you, you won't get that. So you're in much better shape. And again, as a professional business owner, important that you have that insurance and that business structure. Well, here's some shots from our last conference. And again, it is an extraordinary opportunity to really take your business to another level, as so many of the folks have done who have joined the Avoya Travel Network. And We are a family type of organization, but very creative and looking for people who want to build their business. And that's what we are all about. And check that out. We have a waived affiliation fee just for you. That's right, you and you only today, and today only. And no, you don't get any Ginsu knives, but we're going to waive that affiliation fee, which can be up to $495. So that's a pretty extraordinary offer that we are making here in reference to an upfront cost. So again, we're excited about having you on board, and we'd love to make that happen. Now, I'm going to, of course, give you a chance, and here you can type in your answer if you're jumping ahead of me here. You're going to win a $50 Amazon.com gift card if you can answer this question. When are Avoya's live leads available to independent agencies in the Avoya network? The first one of you who answered this correctly is going to get that $50 Amazon gift card. And I'm going to ask Sandy if she has the name of our first winner. We're doing 3 of these today, guys. We are really feeling good today. So we're going to give 3 of these Amazon gift cards today. And that's the first one. And Sandy, do we have a winner for that one?
We do have a winner. I'm so happy to say that not only is everyone paying attention, but they're very fast typists as well. So the first question, when are Avoya's live leads available? The correct answer is 24/7. And the first correct answer I saw on my screen was typed in by Larry Ryan. So congratulations, Larry. We will be passing your contact information along to Scott and his team at Avoya, and they will get in touch with you about claiming your card. So thank you so much. All set, Scott.
Fabulous. All right. Well, congratulations, Larry. Now, Larry, again, and just to make the point to everyone is, while you're a big winner there with your $50, the fact is all of you can be much bigger winners. But the beauty is you can do it anytime you want. So in other words, this really means you run your business when you want to, how you want to, but that those leads are available to you anytime, any day. All right, let's do another one. Here we go. How often does Avoya deposit your earned commission? I'm not sure I covered that, honestly, so this might be a tough one. So, so we're going to say, what would you think would be a really good answer to this one if you were going to receive your income commission? Because one of the things that a lot of people say is, well, I don't get paid by my host. My host doesn't pay me on time. They always tell me the check is in the mail. I will tell you this: we do it automatically. We do it automatically on a regular, and you can put it in there and make your guess, a regular basis that we transfer it directly into your bank account. So you're never going to hear us have us say the check is in the mail. The minute we get commissions in here, we process it and it goes out when? Sandy, do we have any good guessers out there?
We have some very good guessers, and the first good guesser that I saw on my screen, the next $50 Amazon.com gift card is going to go to Kim Perkins. So congratulations, Kim. You either guessed right, or you knew, or maybe you're already a member of Avoya. I don't know, but,
that's right. Any of the above is okay, Kim. Congratulations to you. And yeah, we do pay our commissions. We pay them out on a weekly basis, so they go out every week, and that way, again, that you don't have to worry about chasing us down to find commissions. So again, you can talk to any of our folks about that. We're diligent about making sure that you get paid on a regular basis. Well, now hopefully this next question I actually said, we're going to find out, because the next question is, your chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card is one of the 2 programs Avoya offers as marketing solutions. And oh yes, I did cover both of those. So there are 2 programs that we have available. And if you can be the first one who types both of those in, you will be a big winner. So let's see how fast these typers are. Sandy, do we have a winner yet?
Well, we have some agents who are typing in one of the 2, but remember, we need both. We need
there you go.
2 programs Avoya offers. So let's see if we can get a...
All right, so I'll give you a hint here, folks. I'm guessing most of you have the first one already, which of course the first one is our Live Leads program, right? We have a Live Leads program, and that's where Avoya Travel actually spends millions of dollars developing their website, marketing their website, creating leads, and then those leads are distributed out to all of our independent agencies based on a specialization basis. So that program is in place. That is one of our two. But what was the other one?
Okay,
What was the
we
other
have a
marketing?
winner, Scott. Somebody was absolutely paying attention, and although she typed this in on two different lines, they were right next to each other,
Okay,
and
good.
these are the first ones that I see. And our winner for the third and final $50 gift card is Patty Pring. So congratulations, Patty. The correct answer, not only live leads, but the AMP program. So congratulations, Patty. And again, we will be passing your information along to Scott and his team, and they will get in touch with you about claiming your card. And Scott, I want to say thank you so much for your generosity, you and Avoya, in providing these three gift cards. We really appreciate it.
Well, absolutely, and we're happy to do so, and congratulations to each and every one of you. But I will say that the real winners are going to be the folks who decide that Avoya Travel is the best opportunity for them. So where do you go from here? If you'd like to learn more, first of all, you can visit joinavoya.com anytime. A lot of information on there, a lot of data on there. But call that number or email us, and one of our Join Avoya specialists will reach out to you, talk with you, answer any additional questions. But in the meantime, let's see what questions we might have today that I can help answer, and see if we can clarify any confusion after today's webinar.
Okay, fantastic. We do have a few questions. Agents, if you have a question, now is a good time to type it into the question area. If we don't get to your question, or if you think of something after the webinar is over, you can get in touch with Avoya. The contact information is up on your screen right now. Scott, you talked about clients being able to use their American Express points in buying travel. One of our agents wants to know if agents get the same commission if the client is using American Express points as if they're not.
Yes, they sure do. So the way that the points kind of works is, you can kind of think of it as they're really transferring their points in for cash almost. That's kind of how it works. So in other words, if there's a $4,000 cruise, they're basically going to use their points to equal up to $4,000, which is then paid for by the American Express card. So all the commission transaction, the payment to the cruise line, everything else remains normal. So the cruise line doesn't know that it was paid with points. Basically, you won't know it was paid by points. But the consumer, instead of having that cash taken out of his card, it basically takes it from the points instead. So it's a very simple process, works very well, and again, it's exclusively available only through Rep Network, American Express Rep Network agencies.
Okay, fantastic. One of our agents has two questions. One is, if issues come up with a live lead, before, during, or after the sale, if there are issues, is Avoya going to help support the agency at that point, the agent, and work through the issues with them?
Absolutely. Of course, it depends what you mean by issues, but we have a support team here that is the largest really in the industry on a per head basis. As I mentioned earlier, we have well over 125 people here who are really focused on helping you sell more and to develop those relationships with your clients. So we have a very strong support team that'll help you with any questions. If it becomes an issue that can't be addressed by the tour operator or cruise line or whatever the case is, we have a very strong business development side here that can help with that. So certainly we're here to help you in every way that we can, but it is, of course, your own business, and the way that you are communicating with and talking to the customer is up to you and the way that you do that. But I can promise you that the support you will have available here is second to none.
Okay, fantastic. The Live Leads program, does that include group bookings?
So it's a good question. I will say yes, it does, but it's not that you're going to generate, or that we are going to generate, a tremendous amount of groups per se through the marketing that we do. So again, remember, the way that we generate live leads is through a number of different media and processes that we generate people to go to our website, research at our website, and then once they think they're interested in a certain brand or destination, they raise their hand, and then through another process that is distributed out on our patented basis out to agencies all over the country. They're not sent geographically. They're not sent based on anything other than availability, specialty, and productivity against that brand. some of those leads may be for, well, a lot of the leads, I'll say, come in and they might be for only Mr. and Mrs. Jones, but there's certainly a number of leads that come in for Mr. and Mrs. Jones and their best friends. And then there's Mr. and Mrs. Jones doing a family reunion. And then there's certainly every type of lead you can imagine. We don't market specifically to say group players, et cetera. A lot of groups, true affinity groups, of course, still happen more on a local level. So it's something that we certainly support for you. If you want to go talk to the garden club in your area or the Rotary Club or whatever the case, your church, synagogue, you name it, any of those kind of groups are certainly available. We have a group department here. We have over I think 8 people here now that are in our group department. We have probably the largest number of group beds available throughout the next 24 months than I think you'll find with any other organization. And most of those are available on a promotional basis, but we're also here to support you if you have an affinity group or actually your church or your garden club, whatever it is, wants to put together a group and go, or you've been able to negotiate that with them. We're here to help you. We have people who can walk you through the process, help you negotiate, and help you actually reconcile the group as it comes close to final.
Fantastic. This is a good question too. Once an agent is part of Avoya, do they need to get their own seller of travel licenses for the states that require them, like Florida and California?
So the state travel license law is, of course, a very squishy thing, and it's really hard to be able to give you a unilateral answer on that. Most of the states basically say that as long as the host agency in which you are putting your business through is licensed, then you're fine with that license. That being said, for a couple of the states that have a very stringent law, I'd probably just recommend it anyway. Would be California and Florida are probably the two, and maybe Hawaii would be the ones that really have the most stringent laws. I'd go ahead and probably just get the license. It's not an expensive process, not a hard process. I'd probably just do it anyway. But from the most of the attorneys in the travel business basically have read it and said that as long as you are booking through and that you are not processing money, and that's an important piece of this, that you aren't taking money. And again, we don't allow that in the Avoya system for an agency to process the dollars. In other words, you take a credit card, that credit card is given directly to the cruise line or the tour operator. They are the ones who actually process the credit card. We at Avoya don't even take credit cards to process. It's all done on the supplier level. So as long as you do that, you're going to be in fine shape. And again, that would cover every part of the U.S.
Great, thank you. We have a couple of questions. If you could go over costs to join, what's being waived, is there a monthly charge? Can you go over the price structure again, please?
Sure. So as I mentioned, for those of you on the call, we are waiving what is normally a $495 one-time fee that is being waived for you. So there is no upfront cost to joining Avoya Travel. We do have a monthly fee. Now the monthly fee, however, our goal is that you never have to pay it. And what I mean by that is it's a $49 fee. First of all, we waive it for your first 2 months. So the first 2 months, you don't have to pay it, period. After that point, if you have $1,000 in gross commissions, that means before the split, so gross commissions on any sales that are made during that month, then we'll waive the $49. Not a quota by any means, but it is simply a minimum that says that if you do that amount of business, we're going to waive the $49. And so our goal is that everyone in our system basically doesn't pay us that fee. So that's the monthly fee. That's really the only cost involved, other than, again, you need to set up your LLC and you need to set up your get your own E&O insurance. But those are just business expenses that, again, I would recommend you do that whether you go with Avoya or not. That's just smart business. That's the way that we would recommend you be in business. So from an Avoya perspective, there really is only the monthly fee. The first one is waived. And then there's no charge for the leads. There's no charge for any of the education. So again, that's the full package.
Okay, excellent. We have time for a couple of more questions. And again, to our agents, if we didn't get to your question or if you think of something after the webinar is over, do get in touch with Avoya, or of course, if you're ready to join, get in touch with Avoya. The contact information is up on your screen, so jot it down now before the end of the webinar. For members of Avoya, do they have access to their local sales reps according to where they work, or is this not is this not accessible to them to see their local reps?
So it's a great question, and I will say the answer basically is based on the supplier, because every supplier has a different program in the way that they, in essence, compensate and talk to their business development managers. So we're in the process actually of going through and looking at each supplier and how we can best maximize this, because the underlying part of that question is that most host agencies, historically, all our business flows under one phone number, and that one phone number shows in one territory. So of course, as you can imagine, that would mean that you have one business development manager who really loves Avoya and a bunch of others who really don't. So we're in the process of talking to every supplier about that. Now, most of the suppliers realize that certainly we're not the only one in this scenario. There are a number of host agencies. The world has changed. We don't have all these travel agencies up and down Main Street anymore. Is that most, again, I mentioned earlier, 50% of all travel agents today now work from home. So the BDMs don't even know where their people are within their territory that might be selling. We want to integrate that, but we also don't want to overwhelm agencies in our system. As you can imagine, if we simply just sent out to every supplier, oh, here's the person who lives in Des Moines, you may never get any work done or be able to sell anything, because you're going to have business development managers hammering you all the time and talking to you about their product. So we have to balance that in terms of the way that we do that. The recognition part of this is that we definitely still do a lot of recognition per brand in terms of the top sellers and people who are having success within each brand. So it is a work in progress. And again, that isn't just an Avoya issue. That's an issue across the industry, because you have basically an antiquated program out there of business development managers who are given a region, and then of course they're compensated and they get commissions or bonuses based on volume out of that region. And as we know, with the online travel agencies and host agencies, that model has completely changed, and now it's just not the same scenario. So they're changing the way that they structure their bonuses, support, everything else, and we're doing everything on our side to work with those companies to make sure that the recognition and the benefits on a local level are going to pass through to each and every one of our members.
Okay, great. Thank you. If someone joins Avoya and it turns out not to be a great fit, what's the process for leaving?
So basically, our first contract is only a 6-month contract, and we do that because, again, we want to make sure that someone doesn't feel like they're signing up for life, or that it may not be the right fit. So it's only a 6-month commitment. As I mentioned, we waive the fee for the first 2 months plus the startup fee. So you're really, quote, committed to only, if you literally sold nothing, you're committed to only 4 months of $49. So your worst case scenario is a $200 cost, basically. Obviously, our goal is that isn't the case, and if that was the case, then it would be better for both of us that you would leave after 6 months, right? Because we're after people who are interested in making it work. But as I said, we are a very sales-oriented company. We want people who really want to grow their business. So we're not necessarily for everyone. So we don't want to make it difficult. At the end of the 6 months, you leave, and certainly not an issue, not a problem in terms of ending the contract at that point and going our separate ways.
I'm going to squeeze one more question in here because this is an interesting one. What is the technology offered by Avoya? For example, do you have website capabilities for agents to get a website through you?
We do, and so there's a couple of different answers to that in reference to technology. First, on the website side, yes, when you sign up with Avoya Travel, you will get your own personal website. So it has an About Me page. It's all about you, your picture and information, and in the header of that particular website, throughout the website, will be your own personal 800 number, toll-free number, and your information, email, etc. So it is customized to you, but the beauty is that basically it's a carbon copy to a great extent of the Avoya Travel site, in which we spend millions of dollars developing and creating and making sure that those are very robust and have all of the dynamic pricing and information available. So certainly a great opportunity to have one of the top websites in the world accessible through you and about you and to you at no cost. The rest of our technology is what we, again, put under what we call Agent Power. And Agent Power is again, it's a CRM system. It's where the booking engines lie. It's where you track all your accounting. It's got a full calendar system. It's got everything that you would want in your technology on the desktop. And when I say the desktop, it actually works on your phone. It's fully responsive. It goes on your phone, laptop, iPad, you name it. We've got people who, some of our top agencies are doing $2, $3, $4 million in business, and yet they're still traveling 100 plus days a year around the world, but they continue to work from wherever they are, and they just plug into a Wi-Fi and they can work from anywhere. So it is a very mobile business, which a lot of times I think instead of calling ourselves home-based agents, we just call ourselves mobile agents because, again, home-based kind of makes people think that you're just sitting in your home in your dining room or something. But I think the reality is that we have a business opportunity which is mobile. You can basically be anywhere at any time, with the only caveat being internet service, and that's pretty widespread these days, to be able to do business and make sales.
Okay, and very quickly, can agents have sub-agents?
Yes, you can. We have set up a system now that we have independent licensed agents that are available for underneath an agency that is affiliated with Avoya Travel. You can have as many as you want, basically. There is a one-time fee, setup fee for them of $95. Same kind of scenario applies, though, of the monthly, although what we do is we roll up the average of the monthly. So if you had let's say 4 agencies, you had yourself as the owner and you had 3 other agents who were licensed under your agency, what we basically do is we take the total of the fees that would be due, and then we take the total of the amount of commission that came in. So as I mentioned earlier, you have $1,000 for gross commissions to waive the $49. Well, in this case, what we have is a $4,000 minimum and then the $49. As long as all 4 total up to the $4,000, then you'd waive it the $49 for all 4. So it doesn't matter if one of those only sold $1 or had $1 in commission and another one had $10,000 in commission, or whatever the numbers might be. It's irrelevant how it breaks down individually, but it can all roll up. So that gives you a great advantage to know that when you've got new people coming in and such, that you basically can establish sales to waive their fees below you. So it gives you an opportunity to grow your business, and we definitely support that and provide assistance to do so.
Okay, fantastic answer. Thank you. Our host today has been Avoya Travel, and our speaker has been Scott Kep, Senior Vice President of Sales for Avoya. Scott, as always, this has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome, and thank you so much for your time. And again, I'll look forward to hopefully seeing some of your names as new members of Avoya Travel. Thanks so much for your time, everyone.
And I want to add my thanks to everyone for joining us today and taking time out of your day to be here. I know you learned a lot about Avoya, so I hope you enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.